A very good afternoon to Dr. Zara, my lecturer for KMC 6103, Multicultural, Diversity and Differences. As for this afternoon, I am going to do a short video on the journal that I've chosen, which is the study made on the multicultural organization, perceptions of diversity, challenges and initiatives. In this study, it is looking into the existence of discrimination in the workplace, discrimination against specific groups, initiatives that companies have taken to manage diversity, actions taken to address minority and diversity issues. Now, for the respondents of this study, it is taken from the Fortune 500 companies in the Midwest of the United States. And when we talk about discrimination in the workplace, we are looking into discrimination which involves women, employees that are LGBT, and other minorities. So in this modern organization, especially in taking my own examples, in my own organization, a very good afternoon to Dr. Azara, my lecturer for KMC 6103, Multicultural, Diversities and Differences. As for this afternoon, I'm going to do a short video on the journal that I've chosen, entitled the Multicultural Organization, Perceptions of Diversity, Challenges and Initiatives. Now, this journal is looking into the Fortune 500 companies in the Midwest of United States. And it is looking at the existence of discrimination in the workplace, discrimination against specific groups, initiatives that companies have taken to manage diversity, actions taken to address minority and diversity issues. When we talk about discrimination, in the journal that I've read, discrimination here involves women, employees that are LGBT or other minorities. And normally when we do have this kind of group in an organization, we somehow tend not to really looking serious into any issues arises involving these groups. We should otherwise try to eliminate all forms of discrimination within our workplace. Because to me, when we work in an organization, we need all the support that we can have, including the workforce, the people who are in that organization. Because this group of people, including those who are minority, the women, the LGBT, they are also contributing in terms of performance, which help to bring up the best of the organization. And as for the management, we should not take the issues of discrimination on this group of people lightly. Instead, I should suggest that the management to look into any diversity issues, especially the ones that I've read in this journal, the women employees of LGBT, the management should commit to have diversity programs and implement them in the companies or in organizations which experience these kinds of problems. Because one of the things that is very much observed is that we want to create an environment where we can all embrace this diversity, which are very unique. So when discrimination occurs against any person, regardless of their gender, their race, their religion, their culture, or sexual orientation, we actually have put these perceptions into us. One kind of perception which eliminating or making a borderline that they are a group of people who are different than us, and they are a group of people who cannot actually help to bring up the performance of an organization, which to me should not be the case. So I guess what is important is that we should have an ongoing knowledge regarding diversity initiatives and challenges which leads to better career counseling. And in the findings and discussions of the journal that I have read, there are times that employees' perception of a problem can be much worse than the reality. Because this group of people have not been seriously looked into, that is the reason why the management failed to see the importance of how this group of people is being treated, until so much so that it creates more problem in the workplace. And discrimination targeted among women here in this journal is considered low, but it is the first rank, the highest in ranking being discriminated apart from LGBT. I guess the reason of being so is that maybe when an organization which involves especially those who are with male oriented or male dominant job, then women will be the one being discriminated here. That is what I think. So certain tasks which requires masculinity or which requires much use of strength, women are those who are not considered to have this job. They have always been seen like what we always hear, those who are weak, so they can't perform as much as the males are. So that is the reason why these groups are being discriminated most. The next group that is discriminated are the LGBT. And LGBT, we know that they are consisted of lesbians, gays, bisexual, and transgender. Most of these people are also being discriminated because of what they show. For example, transgender, much of them are women in nature. Feel the inner self of them are women, but it is so much a problem when they expose that kind of feelings or that kind of nature in them into what they're wearing. So some organization cannot accept this, and so they are being discriminated for behaving so or for showing that part of them. So if we proper support or proper programs to cater or to look into these problems which involves LGBT, I'm sure this group of people, they can be as much as good or as much as performing in terms of contributing to the organization. And discrimination involving racism, from my own personal observation, not that much that I have seen, but uh, if if so, then the management should also look at it seriously and not to make it into some sort like glass ceiling is the terms that they use for is the metaphor that they use for those who cannot go to the next step. And like for women, just now what I mentioned, it is some sort like considered as a glass ceiling because the nature of them being soft spoken, the nature of them being looked as weak, those are the ones that created this glass ceiling. And as a conclusion, I would recommend that management should have that commitment to look into diversity programs. And not only that, the top management should also be involved so as to see the effectiveness in taking place, especially when it involves policies to overcome the challenges in diversity. And I would also suggest that diversity management training should be incorporated in educational institutions. This will give future managers the necessary training that they need to meet the future challenges of their employees. So I guess as that wraps up, this is what I felt on this topic that I've chosen based on my reading on the journal. So I would like to say thank you very much for this opportunity and have a good day. Thank you.